Hey guys, Omar here, broker and CEO of Alden Mortgage and Ome Realty. So if you want to get into the world of investing, in the world of real estate, you want to be a landlord, you want to go ahead and see does the numbers work out right. But I've searched all over YouTube, everywhere on YouTube, and nobody's going to do what I'm going to go ahead and do right now. I have a spreadsheet that you are able to go ahead and plug and play to see, hey, does this fall under the 2% rule, the 50% rule, the 70% rule? You get to see your cap rate. You get to see how much the property is going to value over the course of time to know, am I making a good decision? How much is this property going to be working with over time? That's including inflation. Now, in the world of investing, whenever you are, let's say, buying a 2-unit, 4-unit, 10-unit, 20-unit, some of you are going crazy with 100-unit properties. Now, you got to kind of get a little creepy with some of these things. And by creepy, I mean that you have to do your own due diligence. In the world of real estate, we have due diligence where you have to go ahead and go kind of stake out the property. Go see what they're doing. See how many 3-day notices that they're putting out, because that's really important. Because if they're putting out, let's say it's a 10-unit property, right? 10-unit property, and they're putting out a P&L that says that they're 100% on all rental income. Everybody's paying on time, and on the P&L, you don't see anything added in there for, adjusted late fees or anything like that. But you go there on the 3rd of the month, and all of a sudden you see this 10-unit property with 4 3-day notices, pay or quit on there. Well, we're missing something. We're missing a lot of things. Now, you can do something else that's called an estoppel. An estoppel is this agreement that says that everything that they are providing is true and clear. So get your estoppel certificate, get the P&L from the property manager or the broker that's dealing with the sale of the property, and you could go ahead and go there. But on this video, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to give you this spreadsheet. I'm going to break some things down for you. I'm going to give this a very, very, very rough idea of what it is, because all it is, for the most part, is 2% rule is the total income. So like, let's say, for instance, your total income is going to be at $2,000, right? $2,000 a month, and it's a $200,000 property. Or if it's a $5,000 a month and it's a $500,000 property, you just take that number, you go ahead and divide the total rental income that you have coming in by the total purchase price. And then if that is 0.02 and or above, then you fall under the 2% rule. Easy enough. Now that goes the same if you're not in the 2% rule type of guy or girl or whatever it is that you want to call yourself, and you're in the 1%, you could go ahead and do that. Now, everybody's business model is going to be completely different, whether you're short-term, whether you're long-term, whether you're an investor, if you're trying to flip. Majority of people that are on the flipping side, they use what's called the 70% rule, which that one's pretty easy too. And then the 50% rule is going to be something along the lines of, okay, this property brings in $5,000 a month, right? This property on rental income brings in $5,000 a month. Now, with that $5,000 a month, you're going to go ahead and take half of that, and you're just going to go ahead and throw that out the window, right? You're going to throw that because that's going to be the operating cost. Then the operating cost, then that excludes the total amount that you're going to have to pay on the mortgage and all of that stuff. Then after you put that all entwined, you kind of get that. But what will be much better is if I went ahead and showed you exactly what I'm talking about rather than me speaking, because sometimes I go on tangents. I understand. I apologize. But I'm going to go ahead and dive in here. Not only that, because I am a mortgage broker. Not only am I going to do this, I'm actually going to break down the differences between getting an investor loan, which is also known as a DSCR loan, a debt service covered ratio, where we don't need income. We don't care about your personal income. We only care about the income that the property is bringing in, which is called the debt service covered ratio. Now, the ratio is going to be the amount that we're going to have to use on our financing terms, whether it's going to be 1.25. And what does that mean? That means that the total amount that you, like, let's say, for instance, if a property is bringing in $1,000 and your total principal, interest, tax, insurance, and other costs are going to be $1,000. Well, that's a 1-to-1 ratio. We'll get on with that towards the end of this video, but let's get on with it. I'll go ahead and show you exactly how this rule works, how this little spreadsheet works, and yeah, let's get on with it. Now, as you can see over here, okay, so this is just some little bit of a little tidbits I popped in there. You know, this is Alden Mortgage, deal or no deal. Are we going to go ahead and purchase this property? I give you a little breakdown of, let's go back over here. We're going to give you a little breakdown of your credit scores, 700, 740, PMI, because PMI is another thing. This is going to go ahead and get entwined with your running costs, right? So change the average. So with average rents, you're going to change your average rents from rented rent bits to rent data. Adding PMI. The PMI calculations vary from time to time depending on exactly when and what kind of loan product that you're going to go ahead and get it into versus a primary versus a income producing. You know, it all varies from thing, but that's only if you're not putting 20% down. Now, let's face it, majority of people get into the real estate side of things and they're investing. Especially when it comes to your first few ones, you're not going to be on the DSCR loans. You're not going to be on the investment side of loans. You're going to be more on the conventional FHA, USDA if you're able to get that. And a lot of people, they do VA loans. This is going to be how much the PMI would typically look on $250,000 with various credit scores. So like, let's say 5% down. On a conventional, it would be $295 versus $180 with a 700 credit score versus a 740 credit score at $120, so on and so forth. You could go ahead and just pause and you could look at this if you like to go ahead and break that down. Now, as far as entries go, so this is going to be the spreadsheet for you to go ahead and deal with. Now, this is going to go ahead and give you a breakdown. Now, you could go ahead and plug and play, but for the sake of this argument, I went ahead and popped some numbers in here so you can kind of just play around with it yourself. Or for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and put a purchase price of $1 million. Now, this purchase price is completely redundant because it doesn't mean anything. This could be $1,000. This could be $500,000. I'm just trying to give it an even number just so we could get, so the explanation is very, very simple. Now, for instance, this property is going to be a purchase price of $1 million. After repair value, which is the ARV, is going to be 1.2. Closing costs are going to be about $16,000, and then your repair costs will be about $30,000. Now, this is going to be all based off of 20% down. Your loan interest is going to be 5.5%, which this really doesn't exist anymore. Let's go ahead and pop that guy on over to 6%. 6%. So we could go ahead and see where we're at. And now we're all negative. It's all bad. Let's just pop that guy. Oh my God, that's really, really bad. Sorry, I had to go ahead and put that percentage. You have to put the percentage in that. So your cash on return on investment will be at 9.37. Your total down payment on this property is going to be $200,000. Like, for sake of argument, let's just say it's a 20% down program. Your total outlay, now that's including right here your total purchase and closing costs, your total repair costs. That'll be $246,000 that you are going to have to come out of pocket. Now, for this, I went ahead and put that the per unit, the total revenue we have coming in per unit is going to be $10,000 at 2 units with a vacancy rate of 10%. Now, this is why I say do your due diligence, because you don't know. It's the P&L that majority of these real estate companies that they involve, or if it's a mom and pop shop, it's not always the greatest. You might want to take a look and see what expenses that you could go ahead and scrape out. Some people use, like, let's say you're a car payment and they put that into their P&L, and then they go ahead and things just don't add up the way that it's supposed to. But the 2% rule, here we go, right there, the 2% rule. The 2% rule just states that if the total monthly income, $20,000, if you divide $20,000 into $1 million, you get 0.02, which gives you an exact 2% rule. Now, if this doesn't meet the 2% rule, like let's say we change this and we're only bringing in, let's say $5,000 a unit, right? $5,000 a unit. Now, we are no longer into the total of the 2% rule. Now you're at 1%. Some people like to fall under the 1% rule. Some people like to do the 2% rule. Now, this is all based off of a fly. Now, the 50% rule, we are in the green on the 50% rule. The 50% rule just means that after you go ahead and take your total rental income, you cut that sucker in half. So if you're making $5,000, that's $10,000 a month that you have coming in. Your monthly expenses is $6,000. 34.72% falls under the 50% rule, which keeps you in the green. that means you take your total, when you cut that in half, that just means that you're going to go ahead and take that half and you're going to put it into, let's say, your running costs, your total amount of liabilities that you have. And then you're going to go ahead and go from there. Now, the most important thing is we're going to go to the cash flow chart, okay? The cash flow chart, now this goes all the way over from 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, all the way up to the 30 years, because you want to see if you're going to be a long-term holder, right? If you're going to be a long-term holder, how much is this property going to go ahead? How much can I pull out at X amount of time? Now, we adjusted all of this for inflation and how much it's going to be worth. That's over here on the rental income side. Now, if you are at a 10% vacancy loss rate, but you're going to go ahead and increase at 5%, this is how much potentially you're going to be making. Now, this is more of along the lines of like a compounding interest thing. Now, this is just to say 5% increase in rental income over the course of the year, after the first year, after the second year, 5 years, 10 years, how much you're going to be bringing in. This helps you understand, like, if I'm going to be holding on to this forever, like, I'm never going to sell this, I'm just going to use this as the forever rental income. Well, there you go. That's where you're going to be at total gross income. But then over here, because majority of people want to go ahead and take the money that they have on the loan amount, after you put your $200 and something thousand, your $246,000 right here, your cash outlay, which is $246,000, how much could I refi cash out? How much could I take out at any given point? How much equity do I have into my property? Well, that's where we're going to be at right over here. So I want to know, I'm going to have 644,000 here. I'm going to have 288,000 there, so on and so forth. And then you're going to go over here. Now, this gives you a better idea of, kind of like a screenshot of where you're at. We do not fall under the 2% rule, but we're good on the 50% rule. We have a purchase cap rate of 9.6%, not net operating income. That's how much you're getting in. Now, net operating income is one of those things where you take all the amount that you have coming in, you divide that by the total amount, the market value of the property, and that'll give you what's called a cap rate. Now, your pro forma cap rate, which is your how much you're actually going to get, that'll be at 8%. Your total cash flow every single month is going to be at $3,921. So this kind of gives you like a snapshot of exactly what you are dealing with, how much your loan amount, your property is bringing in versus, all the other stuff, the repair costs. Gives you a really, really good snapshot of exactly what you're going in. Now, this is also going to be with your property management expenses, how much you're going to go. I didn't really plug and play too many of this because water and sewer here in California, we don't pay for that. Insurance, we will have to pay for that. So you could put that on if you have PMI, which let me go ahead and bring this on over so you could see this a little bit better. Your PMI, your garbage, your management, your property taxes, you could go ahead and plug and play all of that to go ahead and see where you're at. But now let's see how much exactly does this property, as of today, cost you from a conventional side to a debt service covered ratio to whatever else. So let's get out of here real fast. All right, so this is going to be one of the mortgage broker wholesalers that we sell to. And for the sake of argument, because we actually use a base platform that's called Lending Pad, but I can't get out of that I can't use that without showing people's information that I don't want to. So I had to delete a bunch of people's stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead of here. Let's manage some scenarios here. Let's get back out of here. Let's go here, view results. We're gonna go to this test one that I just did. And let's go ahead and edit this guy to see where we're at. Okay, so we're gonna, for the first part of this, if you go right over here, you're gonna see the occupancy type is gonna be a single family residence. Now I'm gonna change this on over to a 2 to 4 unit dwelling. This is gonna be, let's say, 4 units. Now this is gonna be in California. All this is pre-populated. Now I'm gonna do a loan amount, just like we did before, of $800,000, because we are gonna go ahead and do all of this good stuff. Appraised value is going to be at 1.2 million because that's going to be our ARV, and we're going to do 80% loan to value. So our total loan amount is going to be 800,000. Sales price is going to be at 1 million. Appraised value is going to be at 1.2. Now over here, this is if you want to go to a bank statement. All of this is all redundant because I'm just trying to give you an idea of exactly how much it costs. So we're going to go ahead and get the quote here so you could see exactly how much this is going to go ahead and cost you. Now remember, this is going to be your primary residence. Now, while we're waiting for this guy to go ahead and load up, so on a conventional side as a primary residence, okay, you're going to go ahead and see that this is actually going to be sitting at 6.5%. 6.5% is going to cost you $16 to go ahead and purchase this loan. Now, if you go down over here, we have a 30-year fixed 6.25. If you want to go to the adjustable rate mortgages, that's going to be at a 10.6. You could get that at 6.7%. The FHA is a lot less expensive, but you have something that you have to go ahead and pre-calculate. Now, I already did 20% down, so we don't have any upfront mortgage insurance, but you do have finance mortgage insurance. Now, typically, if you're doing 20% down, this is not really a loan product you're gonna go into, because let's say, for instance, we're at no cost at 5.5% here, right? 5.5%, your P&I, principal and interest at, let's see where we're at, 5.5% is at 46.21. Okay, if we go back up here to the conventional side, at 6.5%, we are at $5,056. It's not really that drastic of a difference, and you don't have to pay mortgage insurance. If you went down to the 5.5, it is going to cost you a little bit. That'll bring you to 45, 42. Where we're at on this one again, 46.21. Actually, FHA does make a lot more sense, and they actually increased the loan limits on that. So actually, FHA would be a much better one. I apologize about that. That was my mistake. I always look at these and I see like the 3.5%, the 4.5% down payments, or 5% down payments, 10% down payments. So sometimes a lot of this doesn't make sense, because what you have is, when you have upfront mortgage insurance, it increases the APR so much that it doesn't mean much of anything. Now, bank statement loans is if, like, let's say, for instance, you are doing a mortgage that you have no income, you have no W-2s, you have no tax returns, you have none of that stuff, but you have money coming in from however it is that you make your money, bringing it in. We're at 8.5% on some of these. If you want to get into the investment side of things, now it's going to go ahead and cost you. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. It's going to cost you about $9,100 to go ahead and get that, and you're paying a premium on that bank statement. And then you go ahead and go from there. Now, for instance, if we went ahead and changed this on over from primary residence to an investment, because I want you to see the difference in price. So we're at 5.5 on the conventional elite, or 6.5 on a conventional, and then 5.5 on an FHA. Where are we at if we go to these other ones? Now, the only one that we have available is going to be, because we have to adjust this. So this is a debt service cover ratio. We went ahead and, actually, I'm glad that I did this. So we went ahead and this pre-populated at 0.8 to 1%. Now, this would have to be at 70% loan to value in order for us to get that. But let's say we're at 1.25. So that's, for instance, if, like, let's say your total rental income is $1,250. Versus the $1,000 that's going out in principal, interest, tax, insurance, then you're at a 1.25 ratio. So that makes it better. Let's see if that adjusted, or are they asking for 70% down on this? Come on, baby, load. Yeah, they're going to ask for 70% loan to value on this. Let's go to see what's going on here on why it's not giving it to us. Home Possible. These are all different loan products, by the way, that are available through us. So if you are interested in any one of these loan products, link in the description below. So let's see, why is the Investor Flex not coming in? What's my invalid reason? Nothing there. What's my invalid reason? Whatever. So there it is. So loan to value would have to be at 70% on this one. Now, does that mean that you have to do 70% down on these types of loan products? No, we have other wholesalers that we actually work with. This specific one, UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, they're one of my favorites. I love this company. This company has always done right by me. They're simple. They're very on top of things. They always make sure that we close our deals always on time. But let's get on to 70% loan to value. And let's see if that brings us on over to the DSCR loan. And I'm only doing this just so you see exactly how much it would end up costing you in order to get into each one of these. Okay, so now we have more options. We have a conventional bank statement. Now Investor Flex. Investor Flex, now this is going to be another one at 9%. You're going to be paying out of pocket $1,470. Now this does not include origination fees or any of that other stuff, but this gives you an idea of how much it costs. So if you wanted to buy down, if you're like, okay, my numbers aren't working, I need to buy down, I don't know, let's say I need to bring it down to 8%. That 8% is going to cost you $11,522. If you want to go down to 7%, that'll cost you $22,610. Now, why are these numbers important to know? Because if you don't know these numbers and you're a long-term holder, then what sense does this make to even, like, you need to know what your long-term hold rate is going to be, your long-term running cost, because $46,000 or $4,657 versus $4,632 over 360 months, if you're holding on to it for that long and you're not going to refinance or you're not going to do any of that, that's a lot of money. Now, majority of people that actually go into the investment side, just so you know, they go into the adjustable rate mortgage side, because you only have to pay interest only on these loans for 7 years, and then it gets adjusted every 6 months. Now, when you're holding and you want to see your ARV, your after repair value, you do this, or you do a hard money. Hard money is if you want to go ahead and get into the investment side where you want to buy and rehab a property, which by all means, if you are, we actually don't need 70% on a fix and flip. It's actually 85% and then 15% down payment. That's all we require. 15% down payment, and then we will cover 100% of the total rehab costs on that. And then you could kind of get out of there and then get into one of these loan programs. You could even just go into the conventional 30-year, which would probably make way more sense. But you see how it's way more expensive? On a 30-year fix, if you're doing a conventional side, you're getting credit back. This one makes much more sense because you're getting credit back, but you're still going to be at 7.625%. That's still relatively expensive when you're changing it from primary residence over into the investor side of things. So let's go ahead and stop the recording. So hopefully that helped you out a little bit. So let's go ahead and recap. 1% rule. 1% rule, if that's the investment side of things that you're in, then cool. If you take your rental income that's coming in versus the total purchase price, divide that, and then you're going to get a decimal point. If that is listen, my children, and you shall hear.
You move the decimal point over, 0.01. Well, that's where you're going to be at. That'll be 1%. Then you can go to the 2%, 50% rule if you want to go ahead and cut that in half over the total expenses, anticipated expenses.
You could go ahead and go from there. Or you could do the 70% rule. The 70% rule is for most of you guys who are on the flipping side of things. That just means that the total amount that you're allowed to go ahead and borrow against that property in all to go ahead and make money back on it with a cushion is going to be 70%. So if you had a $100,000 property, you're only allowed to pay $70,000 for that property in order for you to go ahead and fall under the 70% rule. But if you guys did like any of these spreadsheets and you want this for your own, just let me know in the comments below. No charge, no nothing. There are rules. You have to go ahead and like the video. You have to subscribe. You have to go ahead and comment. So it's not all the way free, but if you really need it, what is that going to do? Take about 10 seconds out of your time? Well, if you did like the content, if you want any of these, go ahead and let me know in the description below for up to 50% commission rebate, 0% listing on selling your current property, or any mortgaging assistance. Link in the description below. Let me know how bad of an explanation I did on this, because let's face it, I'm not a YouTube guy. I'm just trying to do this just to promote business. If you did need any mortgaging assistance, let me know. Link in the description below. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Anything that I missed, anything that I fucked up, anything that I really didn't do right by, just let me know. I'll try to answer the questions. God knows I'm not perfect. God knows I probably missed a lot of things. If you need anything explained on the spreadsheet, let me know. All that other good stuff. I hope you guys all very successful real estate world life. I hope you guys all get into the world of real estate. It's going to be awesome. It's great. By all means, just remember, when you first get into real estate investing, you're making jack shit money, okay? Majority of you are not going to make that much money. It takes a long time for you to go ahead and start building a portfolio. And we have this saying, units, 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 because units is what's eventually going to go ahead and get you that life that you've always wanted. That's just the way that it is. You're not going to make a bunch of money off of one property, two properties. You have to get up to like 30, 40, 50 properties in order for you to have that little cushion for you to say, okay, I'm making, I don't know, $50,000, $60,000 a month. I'm good to go, whatever it is, right? That's where you want to be at. So take this video as a guide to get to that 50 unit property, 60 units, 70 units, 1,000 units, however many that you could possibly get to. And hopefully this little tool that I give you will go ahead and help you out. So like, subscribe, comment, all that other good stuff. 50% commission rebate, 0% listing on selling your current home or any mortgage assistance. Link in the description below. God damn it. I think I'm getting better at these videos, or I'm not. I don't even know. Until next video, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Peace.